In this video, we're going to be talking about a duplex that I own, not of my own money. I bought this home and performed a perfect BRRRR deal, and today in this video, I'm going to break down exactly step by step how I was able to do that. One thing that's even better, I didn't even have to put a single dollar of my own money during the process into the deal. But before we dive in, if you do enjoy the video when you watch it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as that is very appreciated and shows support to this video. So let's get started with number one, finding the deal. Finding the deal in real estate is extremely important. And to simply put it this way, you make most of your money when you buy the deal, not when you sell it. And throughout this process, you're gonna understand exactly why I'm saying that. We found this deal exactly the same way as we did any of my previous purchases. It was my own virtual assistant team that found it, texted it, and then we ended up calling it and closing on the deal. It was a beautiful duplex. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom on each side, and the seller has agreed to $300,000 purchase price. We met at Hungry Howie's. If none of you know what Hungry Howie's is, it's a pizza chain that's down here in Florida, and I saw they have it in Arizona and some other places, but it's a pizza chain, pizza buffet. So while we were eating a $10.99 pizza buffet, we were actually signing a $300,000 purchase and sale agreement. Number two, analyzing the deal. When we found the deal, we were extremely excited, not only because the deal made so much sense on paper, but also because we actually own another duplex on the same street, like 5 houses down. So for us to be able to have 2 duplexes on the same street where we can manage both a lot easier, use the same contractors for both, it's a lot simpler to manage properties that are closer to each other. And that's one thing that's very important. Owning properties in the same general area will help you in a lot of different ways. It's easier for you to understand the market, find tenants, maintenance the properties, manage the properties. All that stuff will be a lot easier if they're in the same general area. You can check out the video about the previous duplex we bought on the street at the end of this video. We knew exactly that the rent for a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit would be around $2,100. So we would be looking at $2,100 per side, or $4,200 for the whole property. And when it comes to ARV, we found a perfect comp that sold for $465,000. That was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom on each side. Nowadays, a lot of real estate wholesalers and investors make a mistake by analyzing the deals by saying, okay, in the last 12 months, this is how much this property in the area sold for. And unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. You do want to be as conservative as possible. If you can find any comparables in the last 90 days, or worst case scenario, 6 months is where you should look at. You shouldn't look back more than 6 months, because a lot of times the market conditions 6 months ago were very different from where they are now. So just based on these numbers on the rent and the ARV, we knew we had a great deal. Number 3, of course, is financing the deal. It's incredibly important where you find the money, right, for any deal you buy. When we were first running the numbers on this deal, we were expecting to put down 25%, because we knew a couple of hard money lenders that required 25% down. And that was the process, and that was the estimations that we were doing. However, during the process, we realized that we can actually tap into equity of the home that I live in right now. This home we bought about 10, 11 months ago, so almost a year ago, and we knew we had an untapped equity into this property. When we originally bought it for $625,000 and put down 25%, we knew actually the property in our mind would appraise for about $900,000. But we knew even worst case scenario, if the bank would appraise it for $750,000, we would still be able to take out about $130,000 to $140,000 of a HELOC. So what we had to do during the process of buying the new duplex, we had to go through a HELOC process of the property we currently live in. So there was a lot of loans going on at the same time, but as long as it came together correctly, it would have been a great deal. And therefore, we didn't have to spend any of our personal money from our personal accounts in order to buy this deal. We used the HELOC as a down payment for the property, that the rest of the 75% was financed with a hard money lender. When we originally walked the property, one side was in a pretty good condition, and I would say we didn't really do too much to that side. However, the other side was very rough. You walk in there, it kind of feels gloomy and scary. It was dirty. You got roaches during the daytime. If you got roaches during the daytime, you know it's bad. So it was pretty bad. And it was like some was destroyed. It was like a lot of holes in the walls. They said it was like a community home. Originally, it was supposed to be like 4 people living in that 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, which makes a lot of sense. But then neighbors actually told us there was like 10, 12 people there at the same time, a lot of times. You had like a walkthrough of people coming in and out. It's insane. So the seller was actually terrified of that side. If that makes sense, he was like, Good luck, guys. This will be really hard and difficult. Haha, now this is your problem. That's kind of how his mentality was. He was thinking that this property is more of a burden than it is any help. So he was kind of like, oh, I'm letting this go to you. Now it's your problem. Figure it out. Which we were like, okay, we're gonna make it our blessing, we're not gonna make it our problem. So after all the renovations, including the roof, we actually spent $29,000 on all the renovations. The roof itself cost $10,500, so we were able to renovate everything else for nearly $19,000. I actually made a video about the renovations we did there. You can check it out at the end of this video as well. Number 5, renting the property. When it comes to renting the property, the things didn't go as smooth as we planned. Because one side, we had no problem renting out at $2,100. And that side was actually what used to be a bad side. We didn't really change the flooring, it was tile. I mean, we cleaned it up and everything like that. We changed the kitchen, made it look a lot nicer. I mean, we changed up a lot of different things to make it look nicer, but in my opinion, it was still not as nice side as the other. But that side actually did rent for $2,100 pretty quick. The other side, however, we saw a slowdown. We did see a lot of applicants, but everyone was very unqualified. And we decided that, hey, we want to attract more tenants that maybe not as qualified than what we see in other areas, but that at least that we feel comfortable with. So what we ended up doing, we dropped the price by $100 and we found the tenants pretty shortly after that. I think like 10 days after that, we found tenants. And sometimes this is a difficult decision you have to make when it comes to renting out the properties. Yes, I know you want to get the top market rent and you want to get the best cash flow. So do we, and I absolutely understand that. However, let's say you dropped the price by $100 and you were able to find a tenant instead of in 2 months, you were able to find it in 3 weeks. How big of a difference that makes to you when it comes year over year. Let's just give you an example. Let's say your rent is $2,000 a month, and let's say you were dropping the price by $100. Okay, so over a span of a year, you're losing $1,200. Okay, not great, don't want to lose $1,200. However, if you consider the fact that your property will sit in the market for 1 month extra, you're gonna lose $2,000 worth of rent. So therefore, you kind of have to kind of weigh it to see what you want to do. Sometimes it does make sense to drop the price a little bit in order to get the tenant there as soon as possible, in order to start getting that cash flow and not be in the negative and not having to pay mortgage out of your pocket. So that's what we did. So now the property is rented totally for $4,100 for both sides total. Number 6, refinancing the property. When it comes to refinance, we actually came to a hard money lender that we personally know and will work with very often. I actually made a video with him on this channel very recently. John is a friend of mine, and I'm actually going to attach a video that we did with him at the end of this video. And when we started the refinance process, he did the appraisal. The appraisal came actually only $5,000 short of what we originally anticipated, which we were very happy at, because $5,000 short, yes, it's not as what we expected, but it's pretty close. So we were able to pull 75% of that $460,000, which ended up being $345,000 that we were able to pull back out of our property. So now let's talk about the final numbers and how it looked at the end. So we bought the property for $300,000. We put in $29,000 of renovations, and we were able to pull out $345,000. After you consider like the title process on the buying side or refinance side, all that stuff, we probably were in very close to $345,000. So when we pulled it out, we actually just paid off all of the stuff that we used during the process, like the HELOC, etc. And now currently we own this home with none of our cash tied into the property, which is the best thing you're gonna do, because a lot of times you're scared when you're buying properties. You have to think about how much money you're gonna have tied into the property, because a lot of times your money being tied into the property is costing you opportunities, right? So you can't invest that money into something else. Therefore, it's a cost of opportunity, but when you have none of your money tied into a property, that is the best outcome you can wish for. And here's the cash flow. Our mortgage and our interest is $23.75 on the property. Our monthly taxes are $250, and our monthly insurance is $208 a month. The total cost for the property comes at $2,833 a month. Total cash flow is $4,100 a month. Therefore, this property brings us $1,267 a month with none of our money tied into the property. The only thing we're really invested into this property is our time and our effort. In my opinion, this property is a beautiful example of what real estate actually is and how you can utilize real estate to create your wealth. This was our first BRRRR deal that we ever done. And honestly, God has guided us through this process in such a beautiful way, and we were able to figure out how to actually make this deal work and how to be able to own this property with none of our money into it. And it's absolutely beautiful, and I think this is what real estate is all about. And I really hope that this story inspires you and you want to start investing into real estate. All the other videos that I mentioned will be on the screen now, talking with John, who is a hard money lender, talking about the previous property we bought there, talking about renovations, and talking about the property that I live in now that we actually pulled out the HELOC from. Thank you all of you guys for tuning in. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.